All right, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're doing a reaction video today. I'm Christina. If you're new to the channel, again, welcome. Please like and subscribe if you're into stuff like this. I post a new workout video every Tuesday, a little short every Friday for now, and I'm working on posting a little more. So anyway, on Monday, November 28th, Autumn Calabrese posted a live talking about emotional eating, and she started it with a disclaimer saying, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor. But then she goes on for 15 minutes talking about emotional eating and giving advice that she's not qualified to give. A lot of the advice I found unhealthy, even verging into dangerous or disordered territory. I didn't care for the video. Everything here is just my personal opinion. Let's get right into it.
Looking great. So, hello, Italy. So anyways, let's talk emotional eating, okay? So first of all, what is it, right? What is emotional eating? I think we can all identify what this is. It's any time that we reach for food to deal with an emotion. And you guys, that could be good or negative emotions, right? So that could be reaching for food in happy times and celebration just as much as it is reaching for food when you're sad, frustrated, angry, any of those kind of emotions, okay? So let's just be aware that that's what it is. It's anytime we're using food to help us deal with the emotion. Now,
great, fine. And if she had just said this, maybe gave a little anecdote, put some free resources out there, then I wouldn't even be making this video.
why do we do it? That's probably the biggest question, because that's what I was getting asked a lot of yesterday is like, it's that time of year and I'm emotionally eating a lot right now. And you guys, this makes sense because it is the holiday season. This could be a very stressful time of year for people. It could be a really lonely time of year for people. Depending on what's going on in your life, you might feel frustrated, you might feel angry, right? There could be a lot of negative emotions happening. Also, it is a time of celebration. There's a lot of parties going on. We're excited about things like that. So we're finding ourselves reaching for food for celebrating, right? It's the time of I'm baking cookies with the kids and I'm reaching for the hot chocolate every time we sit down for a Christmas movie. I'm not hungry. I'm just using it to celebrate. You're using the food to deal with an emotion, okay? So here's what happens. We feel a feeling, and more often than not, I'm gonna say it's usually one that is more negative, okay? We're feeling this feeling, and harder feelings, being angry, frustrated, feeling out of control about something, that's really hard, right? It's hard to sit in that feeling. It doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. It leaves us in this place of feeling out of control. And so what do? We reach for food to try to get this quick pick-me-up. And you guys, food nowadays, especially, like you're not reaching for carrots and celery sticks. Let's be honest. You're probably reaching for the potato chips or the cookies or the alcohol. We're looking for things that are going to give us that quick hit, the sugar, the fat, the salt, the alcohol, that is going to bring on a more positive feeling. Can we all just agree that nowhere in life ever has eating something or drinking something solved a problem for you?
Okay. Well, first of all, maybe I'm projecting onto this video. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I can hear so much contempt in her voice for someone who would choose to like drink hot cocoa with their kids and watch a Christmas movie. You know what I mean? Or who would eat a Christmas cookie instead of like one of her, Beachbody, Shakeology, quick fix protein cookie things. You know what I mean? Like, she uses food in quotation marks, which I find hilarious because everything I've seen her like ever post or put in her mouth on the internet is some sort of like, quote unquote healthy substitution. You know what I mean? It's always, it's always something, some like non-food food. And in my opinion, I feel like she is in my opinion, she's kind of projecting, I think, how she feels about herself and about her own body. In my opinion, she couldn't and would not accept herself like a few pounds bigger. Truly, I don't think so. I think that's why you can hear the contempt in her voice for someone who would like eat a snack. And, have you ever considered that maybe you're hungry because you really are restricting too much? You know what I mean? Like for some people, maybe, that's not relevant, but like in her case, I think that's valid. Beachbody is kind of becoming somewhat notorious for their low calorie diet advice. I feel like that kind of like diet culture is pervasive, and this just this just goes to perpetuate it.
Right? Like, it might take that negative emotion away for a few minutes. You might feel good while you're eating the cookie. The alcohol might numb the emotion that you're having, makes you a little more sleepy, gets you out of your head a little bit, but it doesn't actually solve the problem.
Yeah, I have no problem with, saying, if you're struggling with food or alcohol, I think you need to find a qualified professional. If you're dealing with emotions and finding ways of coping, of course, that are unhealthy, you need to find a real therapist. You know what I mean? You can't take advice from like a fitness influencer online. I don't even know why she's doing this live. I mean, I do know why she's doing this live. It's because she recently launched some new, I don't know, fitness community thing. I think it was called like Mood or like Good Mood or something. I don't know. But it's like she's kind of like stepping into the self-help space, which in my opinion is is certainly flawed and full of scams. And it's just like I don't know, like a fitness self-help community. Gives me major like Heidi Powell vibes. And I feel like this live is kind of to kind of slide into this, this like fitness self-help kind of blurry area.
Am I right? Okay. So can we all be aware of that? Because sometimes thinking that like this is going to make me feel better, it's going to make you feel better in the moment. But ultimately, it's probably not going to leave you feeling better overall, okay? Because it's also when we tend to overdo it on the food and the drinks and things like that. So we reach for the food because it gives us this quick pick me up. Now, what happens is we end up feeling like we're powerless over our food.
Speak for yourself.
Right? We end up feeling like we have no willpower. That's not the case, you guys. That feeling of powerlessness is not from the food. You actually are feeling probably powerless over the emotion.
Thank you for telling me how I actually feel.
We've all probably been through a breakup in our lives, right? Been broken up with before, gone through a situation where you know, the person you care about, for whatever reason, it's not working out anymore. I think we've all been there, right? So we don't want to feel that. And we feel out of control, especially if that person ended things with us. So what do? You turn to alcohol, you turn to the food. You're not out of control with the food. You're out of control with that emotion. You don't want to hurt. So you're trying to find something that you do have control over. I can control it.
Hang on, because I feel like she's saying that, if you're emotionally eating, you're feeling out of control with your emotions. You're trying to take control over something, so you're mindlessly eating. But this is really tricky because now I feel like on the flip side of this, and she's kind of going to allude to this, that feeling out of control with that emotion, you can also take now control of your eating and, not emotionally eat, which I think is easy to become a slippery slope for some people and become too restrictive to the point of, where it's unhealthy. and no longer useful.
Eating this cookie and eating this cookie is going to make me feel good right now in the moment. It's an in the moment fix, you guys. And being aware of this, being cognizant of this, that it is an in the moment fix and it's not going to change anything for you, is probably the biggest thing that you can take away from what I'm talking about right now, because we have to become aware of these things. Okay. It's the emotional eating happens because we're doing it mindlessly. We're not really stopping to think about, oh, why am I eating this cookie? Why am I grabbing these bag of chips? And you guys, please understand that you are not alone. I think every single one of us at some point probably emotionally eats. And this is even the best of us who have control over our nutrition. I can tell you, for me, I tend to do it when I'm bored.
Even the best of us who have the best control over our eating. So even Autumn, who you know, who has the most control over her eating, has the most, regimented diet. Even she is, human enough to eat a potato chip now and then. I mean, for heaven's sakes.
At night. So usually, like, I work all day. I'm a go, 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 go. There's 9 million things going on. I finally sit down on the couch at the end of the night and I just want to watch a show. And I'm watching the show, and God forbid they're eating something that looks really good in the show, because then I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. Or, ooh, chips would be nice right now. I'm not hungry at all. I'm just not quite ready to go get in bed. And we're also overstimulated as a society right now, between all the gadgets and the phones and things. So it's not like we can just be okay and be entertained just watching the show or just watching the movie. Of course, we need to do something else with it. I need to eat the chips. I need to eat the chips. And you don't put the chips in the bowl, you eat them from the bag. So that's me. I've had to become very aware of that, because I was starting to do that a lot. This was like a year or two ago. And I had to really hone it in and say, like, Autumn, you're not hungry. Why are you eating chips right now? There's no need for them. So for me, what I do is I actually, at the end of the night, I usually go take a bath, like do some self-care stuff, read a little bit, get in bed, I'll watch a show in bed.
I have no problem with an evening routine. I'm a big proponent of an evening routine, settling down for the night, getting your body ready for sleep. But for me, this feels very a little ED adjacent, if you will. This kind of feels like kind of that, like, that kind of 2000s advice, like, oh, if you're feeling hungry, go do something else instead. Go take a shower, paint your nails so that they're wet and you can't eat, things like that. It kind of gives me those vibes a little bit. I don't necessarily think that this is like personal advice is something that she should be sharing. Again, because I think it's easy for some people to take this too far.
And that's it, it's lights out. So that I'm not sitting there snacking for no reason. So anyways, I just want you guys to realize that really what it is that we feel like we're powerless over our food, but that's not what it is. It's usually that you feel powerless over the emotion, so you're trying to take control of something else. Here's the good news. There's lots of other things that you can take control of that are good for you. And by the way, it's not that food is bad for you, but it's that when we're overdoing it and indulging in it, and when we're using it for something other than fueling ourselves. And by the way, I'd like to just point out that you can use it for fueling yourself and still enjoy it. It's just that we just don't want to use it to manage an emotion. So
I don't know. I feel like that was a weird part in the video. I don't know if during the live, maybe someone was like asking questions in the chat or something like that. It just felt like she really needed to like kind of circle back and like touch those bases, because it was feeling very diet culture-y, wasn't it? Ugh.
What can we do? Let's just try to wrap this up because I've been talking a bit. So first of all, you need to identify what kind of emotional eater you are. Are you emotionally eating when you're bored, like me? Are you emotionally eating because you're sad? Are you emotionally eating because you're lonely? Is it when you have a fight with your significant other, or when work gets stressful? Are you the person that emotionally eats to celebrate, and you've got a lot to celebrate right now? When are you emotionally eating? That is the first thing to understand, so that when that emotion comes up, you know what's about to follow. You're like, oof, I'm angry, and I know what comes next. I'm cracking the bottle of wine open, and I'm going to be a bottle deep before I even stop to think about it.
Okay, if you are struggling, again, I can't keep saying this. You have to seek help from someone who is qualified to deal with mental health, emotional health, these kinds of things. And again, I know that there are so many barriers to access, but this live is so unnecessary and dangerous. I just hate it. I can't say enough how bad I think it is. And again, that's just my opinion. Again, maybe I'm just kind of projecting my own experiences, my own, insecurities, whatever onto it. But when I hear this advice, for me as someone who has emotionally eaten and who's binged and who's, had a weight loss journey and has experienced those things, and has, participated in extremely restrictive and dangerous habits to try to look a certain way, to try to be a certain size. When I hear some of the advice she's giving, what I hear is kind of the early kind of beginnings of like overly restrictive eating habits.
And then you're not going to undo it from there, because you're not going to be thinking clearly. So we want to identify when we're emotionally eating. And then we want to be mindful of our eating. This is really important, you guys.
See what I mean right here? She's not going to say this, but like this mindful thing, this is just like another example. You know what I mean? Oh, chew your food, 100 times. Take 20 minutes to eat like a pig and an ounce of cheese like a French person does. Like, get a therapist. Get a therapist.
Be mindful. So if you know you're the person who eats when you're bored, like me, and you get up and you go to get those chips or whatever it might be, and you take a split second pause. That's all it takes, is a split second pause to ask yourself, am I hungry, or am I about to go eat because I'm bored? It will stop you dead in your tracks, and you will probably not do it. I'm not saying you won't ever do it, because sometimes you're going to be like, I'm going to do it because I want it. And look, if that's the choice, that's a choice, but you're making it consciously.
If that's the choice that you make, fatty, then that's your choice.
Not unconsciously. And there is the big difference. So if you choose to go eat the chips consciously, knowing that that's why you're going to do it, then you have at least made the decision, being aware that that's why you're doing it.
Right. So when you get on the scale the next day and, you're 2 pounds heavier from, the salt and stuff, you'll know why, you big fatty, because you ate those chips. God.
Okay, so you want to identify it, you want to be mindful of it, and then here's the most important thing. You guys, I want you to feel the feelings.
Not a therapist.
I know this is the hard part. This is the work. Sit in it. Those feelings are not going to destroy you.
You know what? That's bold of you to assume. You don't know what anyone's going through that you're speaking to. You don't know what's going on in someone's life. Again, you don't know their circumstances, their coping skills, whatever. And you're just out here giving this unqualified advice to just, feel your emotions. Like, you know what anyone's going through, like as if, that couldn't really pose a danger for some people. This is unqualified advice. It's poor advice. I can't believe that she can't like see that she's wholly unqualified to be telling people this. I don't understand this. And I say, again, like she has, a huge reach. And I think it's irresponsible to say shit like this.
You are strong and you will come out the other side of it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you got to feel the feelings. We can't keep suppressing it. That does not help us in any way, shape, or form. You don't want to be storing negative feelings in your body. You guys, we hold that in our tissue and that can start to lead to so many other issues. So feel it. Be uncomfortable, okay? Let yourself be uncomfortable with the emotion. You're angry? Be angry. You're sad? Be sad for the moment. I'm not telling you to live in it. I'm telling you to feel it.
Not a therapist.
There's a difference. I'm not saying become the emotion. I'm saying feel the emotion. Don't suppress the emotion and don't run from it. The only way to get over something is to go through it. If you keep avoiding it, it's really still in there somewhere. So feel the feelings so that you can go through them. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to come up with new ways of coping with the emotion that are going to serve you better. So if you're really bored, maybe you need to ask some friends for some recommendations of some shows to watch that are new and exciting.
I'm sorry. Didn't you just get done telling us in this exact same live that we as a society are too overstimulated and can't be entertained by just a show? We have to eat the chips, right? We don't put the chips in a bowl. We eat them out of the bag. That's what she did, right? We got to eat the chips. Eat the chips. Oh, my God.
Maybe you want to set up a game night with your friends so that once a week you have that thing to look forward to. Maybe you want to plan a dinner, or maybe you want to have a potluck and have friends over. If you're anxious, what are you
Yes, definitely plan an event around food.
Anxious about? What is it that you can take control over in that situation? The thing that makes you anxious. You guys, I get anxiety so bad sometimes, and sometimes I don't even know why. I can't identify where the anxiety is coming from.
Exactly. And again, you're not a doctor, you're not a therapist, and full disclosure, neither am I. But that's the thing. You're speaking on these topics that you're not qualified to give advice on, and you're oversimplifying some of these things, like the example I said before. My hungry, my bored. Like, problem solved. This right here, like, identify why you're anxious. You just now said sometimes you can't identify when you're anxious. And anyone with anxiety will tell you the exact same thing. Sometimes they can't even tell you any reason why. It's just the way they are feeling. It's just what they experience. So what are you talking about?
Or the anxiety is coming from things that are completely out of my control. So when that happens, I have to be aware of it, and then I have to think, okay, what is in my control?
My eating. Yikes.
And can I focus on that? Because no amount of obsessing about the thing that is out of my control will change the thing that is out of my control. And I am a control freak.
Okay, exactly. See, and this is where I start feeling like kind of the like ED vibes coming back. Like, if I feel out of control with my like anxiety or my emotions, I can take control of, not eating this food item. And I feel like that advice, or just kind of that insinuation, is dangerous. It's irresponsible. It's gross. I hate it. I hate everything about this live and this toxic advice especially.
So this is very hard for me. So you need to come up with new, different ways to cope with the emotion. Read a book, practice self-care, whatever it might be. And that's not the thing that I can tell you. Like, I can give you a bunch of suggestions, but you have to figure out what it's going to be for you and what fits for your life and what's going to actually make you feel better in the moment. So, like I said, you guys, by no means is this the end all be all when it comes to emotional eating, but I really hope that it is a good start, that it helps you identify what it is and why you're doing it. It gives you a moment to pause, take a deep breath, and think about it, and then maybe make a little bit better choice. Because this is the last thought I want to leave you with. There is a difference between hunger and emotional hunger. And I think right now a lot of us are emotionally starving. Okay? When you're hungry, healthy food will sound good to you. You'll eat the veggies, you'll eat the fruit, you'll eat the lean protein, whatever. But when you're emotionally hungry, that's when you start looking for the quick fix.
The chips. You gotta eat the chips.
Because you are looking for something to make you feel better than what you're feeling right now. And I get it, you guys, because we are in a time like none I've ever experienced in 40.
All right, she's going to wrap it up from here. But overall, I just want to say, first of all, if you made it to the end of this video, you are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I was really irked when I saw this live, and I just wanted to share some of my thoughts. So if anyone else maybe saw this live or came across, advice similar to this, maybe they would just see a different perspective and maybe seek an alternative route for help, like actual therapy or medical intervention. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Christina of Christina's Healthy Life. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want more, stuff, workouts, reactions, more fun stuff from me. And that's it. See you next time. Bye.